When I started producing, there was very little information about how to make music like the Doom Eternal soundtrack or Argent Metal. There were some podcasts from Bjorn and the GDC talk back then, and some bits and nuggets on his Instagram. But for the most part, there was nothingness. Vast nothingness. So this is my journey to give you the best information about Argent Metal and the Doom Eternal soundtrack on YouTube. It all starts with the riff. The old Doom riffs, for example, are very iconic, and you remember all the melodies instantly. The same goes for most Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal tracks. The riffs are bouncy, heavy, and just very recognizable. So that is the first thing that we're gonna master when it comes to Argent Metal and the Doom Eternal soundtrack. Metal genres are doing the same thing that the Doom Eternal soundtrack does, you know? So it's very important to have that knowledge. When I discover a good riff, it feels like it's the best feeling in the world, basically. Feels, you know, eating pizza is good. Not bad. Getting that riff right it's a thing, man. It's the sort of thing that makes your hands sweat and gives you all kinds of adrenaline rushes. And that's the same with every art, basically, in my opinion. Getting those riffs right is a priority. In this song, I, by accident, discovered a cool-ass riff. And I already had a main riff, which sounds like this. And both riffs are great, but when you play them after one another, it's like, yeah, it's meh. So either I have to throw one riff out or I have to figure some way out to combine them. And the cool thing about Argent Metal is it gives you a lot of room. In this case, I just decided the most simple and effective thing is to just create a break. Kick drum, boom. Cut out all the instruments, leave only the guitar, and go all in again in the middle of the second riff. One of the most important things when you make Doom Eternal style music or Argent Metal is synthesizers. Basically, you layer them on top of the guitar where they play the same notes, or you make a melody. You could say a lead guitar, but with synthesizers. And you play a aggressive, catchy, maybe also cheeky melody that goes well with your riffs. The great thing about producing Argent Metal is you have a lot of freedom, and that comes to shine with the lead synth. So here we have a basic saw wave with mirror turned on, basic shapes, turn wavetable position to the right. The most important part of this is this LFO here goes to fine tune. When you don't have that, it sounds like that. Pretty boring. Turn to around 50 and now you have that. Adds a little bit of texture. Filter on, a little bit of sub, noise, and legato always scaled, that's fine. And then we add some effects to it, which doesn't change much actually. Pause the video, copy my effects. The real magic comes in the post-processing. The OTT, the amp, and the reverb does the most work. And there you go. Also, the riffs have to be bouncy. They have to have a distinct feeling and melody. There's some stuff that works in metal. For example, this. That don't work for Argent Metal or the Doom Eternal soundtrack. And then you have this. And also the drums. They are as well very different from normal modern metal drums. They are distinct, they are clear in the mix, they punch through, and without the punch from them, the Doom Eternal soundtrack wouldn't be what it is now. So you have to sound design them almost as if they were drum and bass drums. Or maybe dubstep drums, you know? When it comes to the drums, let's look at the bass drum first. It's a good example on why post-processing is extremely important if you don't have the right samples. And I don't have the right samples, I'm just gonna tell you. This is how my bass drum sounds raw. And you might think shit in, shit out, but listen to this. It's a bass drum now. It's a whole bunch of compression, crazy ass filtering, put it in mono, more filtering, more compression, more filtering. I think it's actually important to show you that. It's definitely not the best way. If you don't have the money to buy sample packs or a superior drummer, then this is your only way. And so you can do a lot with post-processing. So in between the riff and the drums and the synths, there's all kinds of noises and glitches and risers, and all that stuff makes the music special. One of the most important things about producing Argent Metal is the low end. The low end needs to represent the aggressiveness, the anger of the Doomslayer. And so this is how the low end or the lower mids sound from The Only Thing They Fear Is You from Mick Gordon. I mean, that sounds brutal. This is how my song sounds in the low end or low mids. Now there's missing something, you know? There's missing a little bit of this grittiness, and it works with my song, but the low end needs to be fixed in your song. I have a mix of this sine wave. Then we have normal bass. Cut off at, again, 135 roughly, right? And then the guitars come in. All in all, I'd say pretty good. It works for the song. So there you go. One of the most important part is how does your music sound theoretically on paper, you know? Is your melody actually good? Arrange the whole thing out and see what works, see what riffs work. But don't use guitars, use very simple sine waves or saw waves to actually hear what the riff might sound like. And if that riff raw sounds good, then you have a very good basis for a great song. Check out my very successful video about cultist bass and how to get it sound right. And yeah, have fun making brutal ass music. Let's listen to my song.